An analysis in Poly notebooks starts from this dashboard called the notebooks dashboard. All of the past notebooks that you have created or uploaded live in this dashboard, and you can see basic details about when they were created, the machine that they were run on, as well as the environment that they were run in on this dashboard as well. Now from here you can also upload a new notebook, and this could be any Jupyter notebook in .ipynb format, or create a new notebook as well. Let's create a new notebook. In order to do that, we'll click the new notebook button and this dialog box will open. On the left, you will see a list of Docker environments, which is a list of computation environments in which you can run your notebook. On the right, you will see various machine types with several CPU and RAM configurations, and you can choose one depending on your analysis needs. Now for the Dockers, we have provided a list of pre-built Dockers, but custom Dockers can be added. For today, let's choose an environment called Polyglot where you can run both R and Python in the same notebook and a general purpose small machine, and let's launch this new notebook. Once you click the launch button, you will see a progress bar appear on your screen which will tell you that your new notebook is opening. Once the server is ready, you will see the new notebook open in your browser. Let's close this dialog box for now. People who are familiar with Jupyter will recognize this interface. When a new notebook opens, a default name is given to the notebook, which you can see on top left here. On the top right, you can see the project in which this notebook is saved on Poly, as well as the Docker environment in which this notebook is running. For any data analysis, you first need to import some data into your notebook. There are two ways to do that using Poly notebooks. One way is to get the data that is stored on Poly into your notebook environment and then use it. And another way is to import the data from some external servers such as S3 buckets provided by Amazon Web Services. So we'll take a look at both today, but first let's look at how to get data stored on Poly within the notebook. Now we can choose a language within this notebook. For now, I've chosen Python 3, and we provide several commands in order to import data from Poly. I'm using a command here called list project file, and I can execute this command and get a list of files that are already stored on Poly. In order to execute the cell, you can either click the run button shown on your screen, or you can press Ctrl and Enter on your keyboard. So we can see there are these three files present on Poly, and I can use any one of them in my analysis today. So now let's actually get one of these files into our computational environment. For this, I'm using a function called download project file. As an argument, I'm providing the name of the file that I want, and I will execute this cell. And once executed, you'll see that the file has been imported. Now I can go to Poly offerings and click on File Explorer to actually verify that this file is now present in my computational environment. So you can see in this list of default files, this particular file that I downloaded is now present. Let's go back to our notebook and resume analysis. This file is now ready to use. So we can use any library in Python or R to read in this file as a data frame. Once we have read this file, we can take a look at the data frame itself. We can see that the rows contain gene names, and the columns contain sample names. The data here is gene expression data. Now we can use this data frame and plot these values to take a look at how gene expression is distributed across all samples. To make plots, I want to use a library called Seaborn. So let's import this library into our environment. When I run this command, I see an error that this library is not present. If that happens to you, then it's not a problem because you can install any library from within the notebook itself. So now I'm running an installation command for this library, and I will re-execute the cell, and you will see that this library is now being installed, and once it has been installed, it's then ready to use. We can now use this newly installed library to plot our gene expression values. So let's write a short piece of code and execute that. You can see that the expression values have been plotted, but they span several orders of magnitude, so you cannot see the distribution very clearly. In this case, it would be better to take log of the data and then plot it. Let's take log of this data frame. So we'll write some code to create a new data frame called df underscore log. And when I print this data frame, you will see that I now have a data frame with log of gene expression values. Now let's plot log of the data as before and execute this cell. You can see that now we can see the distributions in each sample a lot better. Now let's say that you want to save this data frame that you've just created that contains log of the gene expression values as a separate file. In order to do that, I will write out this data frame as a CSV file. So that's what I'm doing here. I get an error. So let's see what I've written wrong. Okay, so I need to write the data frame df underscore log to a CSV file, and now I have successfully written that data frame as a CSV file. I can go to File Explorer again and verify that the CSV file has been written. Once the CSV file has been written, then I can actually save the CSV file into Poly using this command called save file to project, providing the name of the file as the argument and executing this cell. Now I get a message saying that the file has been successfully saved. I can now go back to Poly dashboard and go to the section called project files. And if I just refresh this section, I will see that the df underscore log file has been saved here. We will now go back to the notebook and take a look at how to import and export data from S3. If you have your data on S3, then you will often be required to provide credentials to the terminal. To do that, under Poly offerings, we have provided an option to go to the terminal. Once you are inside the terminal, you can use a command called AWS configure to provide your credentials for your particular S3 bucket. I've already done that for my bucket. I have added my AWS access key ID and my AWS secret access key. Once you've done the same for your particular bucket, then you're ready to import data from S3. Let's take a look at how we can look at the files in an S3 bucket and download files from there. So initially I'm writing a command to list all of the files present in an S3 bucket called public poly notebooks. I've created this bucket specifically for this demonstration. So on executing this command, we see that there are two files present in this bucket. Let's download one of these files for use. So we'll write another command saying that we want to copy this particular file underscore S3 from public poly notebooks to our current computational environment. We can then execute this command and the file will be downloaded. We can also go to File Explorer as we had done earlier and verify that this particular file has been downloaded. As we had done earlier, after importing a file from Poly, we can import this file as a data frame and use it for analysis. Let's also take a look at how we can save the df underscore log.csv file that we had created earlier back to S3 if required. So now I will write a command. Once we execute this command, this file will be uploaded from our environment to S3, and we can again verify that by listing all of the files present in our S3 bucket, just so. And on executing it, you will see that the df underscore log file is now present in our bucket and it has been successfully uploaded. I can also click the save button to save the current notebook, but as you might have seen throughout this demonstration, Poly automatically saves the notebooks as we go.